Welcome back to Apex Alchemy. Today we have a Jed Hornbeak, Cerberus.
Cerberus.
You know, I've always pronounced that word like Cerberus. I'm not sure what if it's. I don't know. I don't even know if Cerberus is a word, but that's how I've always pronounced it. It's in 3V steel. Huge blade stock, and I'm not talking about the cutting edge necessarily. It is thick behind the edge because of the nature of a dagger, but talking about where it started off. It didn't start off as some teeny tiny little piece of metal. It started off with a significant chunk of metal there. I believe we're probably going to be looking at a 1/4 inch, if not more. Wouldn't normally start this out like this, but that's just yeah, man, it's a 1/4 inch blade stock, or the original stock of this knife was probably was definitely a 1/4 of an inch of 3V steel. That is not a cheap slab of steel. I've been steel shopping because Jed has invited me over to make a knife. He was so generous. He said, I've got metal around here, you don't have to buy any. And I was like, no, man, let me cover my own parts. He said, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure. I'll cover my own materials and expenses and stuff. And he was like, okay. And I get online and start looking at steel.
It's not cheap.
If you're buying one plank at a time, man, I'm gonna tell you, just the steel itself at a 1/4 inch for 3V, like directly from Niagara or something like that, more than likely, the prices do vary depending on the quantity that you buy. If you're just buying one piece,
around $300.
No, not for 3V, but it was like 170. But 10V for a 3/16 stock was $300. And that's what I was like, oh, let me make my first knife in 10V. And I was like, all right, man,
never mind.
Let's check out this D2 over here. Anyway, this is resemblant to a Sai, but it'd be important to note that this is its own beast. This is not a Sai. It's very relatable to a Sai, but it's not a Sai. Like, Sais are typically not sharpened, and when you look up something about a sharpened Sai,
they have like a dark kind of tip, I guess.
Yeah, like a dark tip.
You could grab the majority of.
Yeah, most of your grips are going to require you
to be able to grab through here.
Yeah, and that's not something you're going to do with this knife. So, you got 3 main grips with a Sai. The first being your traditional grip. I can't remember what they call that in Japanese. The other is a reverse grip, which would be a starting grip, and you put your thumb through here. You're not going to be able to do that. This is a smaller weapon than a Sai. And then the third is you're
holding on
to that. And you have a solid piece of metal back here that you could use as a weapon. So this is resemblant to a Sai, and but it's not a Sai. It is a dagger.
3-edged dagger.
It's a 4-edged dagger, really.
Or 3-point.
Yeah,
dagger.
3-point dagger. That's right. So you do got a true double edge on both sides. You got a nice sharp pointy tip. So I'm not saying it can't be used as a Sai, but you wouldn't want to pick this up if you're like a Sai collector and you like to practice Sai movements and stuff like that. Yeah, and all the flipping and stuff like that. You're going to hurt yourself with this thing. It is a lot smaller than most Sais too.
These are sharpened.
Those are hollow ground and very sharp, yes. I'm not sure.
If you could.
I'm going to zoom this out. Oops. Okay, I'm going to zoom it out as much as I can. I want to see. Don't hold it against the knife if it doesn't cut, because I am at the weirdest of angles.
And
it's okay, but this is one janky piece of paper that needs to come off. But the edge, nothing. No, that's even jankier. It's even jankier.
I thought it might have been a little thinner for those tips anyway.
Right, I feel you. But no, it's an interesting dagger. This is one that Lynn Thompson picked up. He was extremely impressed after looking at this knife and a few others. I think he was really impressed with the Hanzaki as well.
If y'all hear
Wow.
that, the bottom just fell out.
The bottom
It's
just fell out
raining
of our
its
house.
butt off.
So he handled the Hanzaki as well. I believe he handled this one to be exact. And I believe he was a big fan of the short rib, which we've done a video on if you guys want to check it out, if you hadn't already. But after checking out Jed's knives, Lynn Thompson shook his hand, told him it was a pleasure to meet him, and asked him how soon he could get some knives designed for him. And that's fucking exciting, man. Excuse my French, Miss Hornbeak. I know Jed's mom has been watching the videos, and I try not to drop many F-bombs, but sometimes I do, ma'am. I'm sorry. It's just my excitement. You have a brilliant, talented son. It's the effect. It's just natural. But again, here, man, you've got this very nice Kydex sheath. This was not. It may have been easy for Jed, but this was. This was not an easy Kydex sheath to design. It wouldn't be for most people. But the symmetry is there. You can tell by the shape of the sheath how much symmetry is involved with the knife. Because if one of these points was off, as would be the geometry of the sheath.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't.
And that one does have the thing to
loosen and tighten.
Loosen and tighten.
Yeah, and operating this stuff behind the tripod is hard. So sorry about that. I love the mill work that he's put in here. You got to be careful holding this thing, no matter how you hold it. The mill work.
Is that supposed to be kind of like jimping? I guess it could.
Yeah. More than likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could work as jimping. Absolutely.
Keep your hand.
I thought it was just
sliding.
decoration, but yeah, that's definitely
It's jimping.
And Jed did say, he does call this a side because most people call it the Ninja Turtle thing, but yeah, the sides are just usually like horns, it's just a long pole
pointy.
with points on them and stuff. Yeah. They're not slashers and cutters and stuff like this. This is definitely a dagger first, and then you got your additional pieces over here, and I believe this is more of a showpiece, but I'm not saying it couldn't be used.
I've already threatened you with it. It could be used.
Oh, it can definitely be used. I mean, it can cut just fine. Everything, every edge on it is a hollow ground.
And that thing would hurt.
Yes. I mean, where this ends, when you run out of blade here,
you got
and you keep on going on, we got two more points, that are sharpened on the side here. It's just gonna, and then if you used to get this in your watermelon, and then turn, you're just ripping everything up.
Which may be fun to do on camera eventually.
Yeah.
Cantaloupe or watermelon. Or
Yeah, if we own one. Speaking of ownership, this is getting into which I mentioned the price of the steel by itself. So we're looking at a $500 piece here.
And a whole lot of work.
A whole lot of work. And just like every other Hornbeak knife, if you're interested in it, jedhornbeak@gmail.com. He has several designs that we haven't shown yet. So keep that in mind. But on Instagram, it's Jed Hornbeak, just the way it's spelled. And you can look through all of his designs. He posts pictures on Instagram frequently. But what was I saying before I got into that?
As always.
Oh, as always, there's no hot spots on this knife except for what you want to be hot, and that's the cutty pieces, right? These, again, we ranted and raved over the short rib being so smooth and the Boudreaux dagger being so smooth, and you can't find any hot spots. It's seamless again. You got 3 different pieces of G10 here, 2 G10 pins, 1 hollow pin for a lanyard, and there's nothing. You know, like you can't feel anything.
Other than the color difference, you're not going to be able to feel
And
where
it's
the pieces go together.
not working with flat pieces either. You know, like it's like there's hardly a flat piece that can be found on this knife unless it needs to be flat for the design of blade. Like the
there's curvature.
Yeah, and it fits
angles.
Perfect. Fits perfect. And I'm not sure I would pick one of these up for myself because it's really just not my style. However,
there are a lot of people out there that do like.
Absolutely, man. Corey lives down the street.
Yeah.
I think he would love one of these, man. You know, like he collects katanas and other ninja
Swords
weapons, and he's got a background in martial arts, and I believe this would be like a piece that he could very much appreciate. Okay, Courtney, what have we not done?
I think
we haven't done any measurements.
No.
Okay, let's do some measurements real quick. Cutting edge.
On the main dagger?
On the main dagger. It's 3.5 inches. It's going to be on both sides. Keep in mind both of those edges are hollow ground. You're not going to have much of a cutting edge here.
No.
About a 1/4 of an inch. Cutting edge on both of those. The overall length of this thing, of the Cerberus.
9 inches?
9 and some. 9 1/8. We'll call it 9 1/8. The blade length, if we go all the way to the end of the handle, we're looking at right at 5 inches, maybe 4. No, yeah, right at 5 inches. Okay, but if we go to the ricasso, we've already covered that, right? 3.5. All right, man. This knife is nice. The knife is nice. If you have any questions, oh yeah. Go away.
I'm keeping them in check, y'all. All right, where's 0?
Okay. For ounces, we're at 6.5 ounces without the sheath. The sheath is 3.7 ounces without the knife, and together 10.2 ounces. All right. Everything. Ooh, 290 grams. The sheath alone, 105 grams, and the knife alone, 185 grams. So that's your weights, that's your lengths. If you have any questions, leave them below. If you like the content, consider subscribing. Share these knives with your friends. Jed's a great dude, makes great knives in Tennessee, and he would very much appreciate help him go viral. Outreach, man. Yeah, help him go viral. I mean, help him go viral before Lynn Thompson pushes him viral. Wouldn't it be cool if we can get him to go viral? Not just me, we as a community. We as a community can help this young man go viral before Lynn Thompson just takes off with him. We very much appreciate every second you spend with us. Until next time.
Catch you on the flip side.